Ciao e benvenuto al bike show. Scorchio.
Uno cappuccino, per favore.
No, not yet. And why are we talking Italian?
Because we're here at Cayenne World and this is the start of a month-long Italian bike festival.
Does that mean I can have my cappuccino?
No. Go and test a bike. Go on.
Off you go.
Go.
It's amazing how motorcycles are progressing these days, especially bikes for lighties. Now remember when we were lighties, we were allowed these tiny little 50cc buzz bikes. A bit later on, kids were allowed to ride 125cc's. Then the manufacturers came out with 250cc's, and now they've finally gotten to monster 300s. The world has never been better, especially for lighties. And the latest manufacturer to enter this fray is Yamaha with their twin-cylinder R3. Despite what Matt and Harry say, I am no longer a lightie. But even now, when I'm well into my 30s, I would still be happy to be seen on a motorcycle like this. Just look at it. It looks like a full-blown, fully grown, proper superbike. I think anybody would be proud to arrive on something that looks like this. Now, there's still a bit of a problem because although the manufacturers have caught on that kids should ride 300cc's, the law has not. And they say that anybody younger than 18 should ride only up to 125cc, which you and I know is absolute nonsense. But don't worry, there's a way around this. Right, that'll confuse the fuzz. Let's go. Now, this thing has a 321cc parallel twin engine, which is not the big news. The big news is the 180-degree firing order, much like the cross-plane crank on the R1, and more importantly, like the cross-plane crank on Valentino Rossi's M1. Man, this thing revs. Boy, does it rev. When I first got it, I revved it until what sounded like the pistons were going to jump up and punch me in the face. But when I looked down, I was only doing 7,000 RPM. And this thing revs to 12 and a half. Listen to it. That's a lot of revs. It hasn't got pistons. It's got two angry little gremlins scratching to get out. It makes 42 horsepower, which is quite a bit for a bike made for kids. And it has a top speed of around 190 kilometers per hour. Maybe it'll do more. It depends how long the downhill is. What is unique about this bike, and much of that is down to that cross-plane crank, is whereas the CBR 300, the Honda and the KTM RC 390 all have tons of bottoming, so it comes from right at the bottom, like that. And the Kawasaki 300R has all the top end like that. This seems to have that mix of the two. So you can open it a low RPM, it'll work, and it still has some of that top end right. Listen. What is important is that this bike is built by Yamaha. What's important about that is because two manufacturers, Yamaha and Honda, you can say what you want about them, the one thing you can't accuse them of is poor build quality. And here I'm speaking to the adults, the mommies and the daddies. Because you need good build quality. When I ride this thing, I can feel it's built well. Yamaha will not put a Yamaha badge on a motorcycle, no matter which factory it comes out of, unless it's built well. It's got to have that seal of approval. And that's really important because let's not kid ourselves. When your kid rides this bike, he's going to have it at 11,000 RPM for 90% of the time. And you need a bike that's built properly for that. Okay, enough adult talk, back to the kids. The most important part about this bike, and you'll agree, is that it looks like a full-on superbike. In fact, when I went to pick it up at Yamaha earlier today, They had it parked outside. I was late, so not paying attention as usual. I walked straight past it. I went to the Yamaha guys inside and said, hey, where's the R3? They said, well, just walk past it. Honestly, it looks that good. When you ride this bike, you're going to be the man. All your mates are going to be jealous and all the women are going to flock to you. When you ride this bike, you are going to be Valentino Lorenzo Marquez.
Nice bike. Not quite the same, I can say, about the sight of you cruising around outside of school.
With a bag of sweets.
I was trying to make some friends and then some horrible policeman asked me to leave.
I cannot imagine why.
Yeah,
What's the world coming to?
exactly.
69 grand.
69
It
grand, I
seems
know.
quite a lot.
Yes, that's a lot of chores and homework, isn't it? Especially when you compare it to its competitors. I mean, you got the KTM RC390. That's
Which is
60.
a lovely thing.
It's a
Both of
lovely
you have
bike.
ridden
Ridden
that.
that. Well, that was 65 though.
That was,
so, I mean,
it was 62,900.
oh, sorry, 62, and then the Naked Duke, that was 58, wasn't it?
58.
But keeping with the superbike theme, there's stuff from Honda and Kawasaki as well, though, isn't there, Donovan?
Yeah, the Kawasaki depends which model. The most recent one, 2015, is 65 grand. I have no idea how much the Honda it is, but it doesn't.
A little bit cheaper, the Honda, but the Honda's a
It's
single
cheaper.
cylinder
It's a
thing,
single
and
cylinder. It doesn't quite keep up, but
the motor in the Yamaha, then you've ridden them all. I know you haven't had the benefit of back-to-back testing, but gut feel, which is the quickest?
in an environment like where we were riding, outside of school, the KTM's got a lot of bottom end punch. It's really got that punch, whereas the Kawasaki, especially on the open road, I think it'll gap all of them. The Yamaha's got that sort of in-betweener, whereby it's got bottom end punch and a bit of top end.
Well, it's only a little twin, and yet you were
Yeah.
telling me it's got the cross-plane crank
It's got a
technology
cross-plane
in
crank to make it more rideable, which is what you need for a 300.
there. Yeah, because it's just frightening and you can't ride one properly without the help of a cross-plane crank.
But what we're all ignoring here is the looks of these things. They are little mini superbikes, aren't they? Which is what every kid wants, really. They want to have a little race replica in the
That
garage.
makes it all subjective then. So which would you choose, Harry, if you were going on looks alone?
KTM.
KTM.
I'd go for the Yamaha, looks alone.
Would you?
Really?
Because you know what, as I said, when it was at Yamaha and we were picking it up, I walked straight past it, dismissing it for some superbike, you know? And I didn't even realize that, hey, I've just walked past the bike I'm picking up. It
Well,
says
that's
something.
exactly the image you want to portray when you've got a little bike. You want to look bigger than you actually are. Stay with us, because after the break, we'll be back with a GSX-R 750 and another GSX-R 750.